So Kriss, that was a stonking performance as expected. I'm so pleased as a fellow speaker to be able to tip you into somewhere like this when I knew you'd knock them out completely, which you did. So thank you for what you put down.
And thanks for the opportunity, Steve. You know, you say people know people. It's your customer, your client. You've got a great history with them. You've actually trusted me with your customer. I'm glad that I've stepped up and I delivered. And I really love this sort of environment where you've got owner operators, you've got C-suite personnel there who are there with a thorny issue. I mean, your theme here was taking ownership. Yeah. It's a great line, taking ownership, and it just keys into the things I talk about.
But you know, it's a great line, right? And I'm not knocking our hosts and our client, but they call it taking ownership. How much do you think they buy into really taking ownership? How much do you think is often lip service that people pay to this kind of stuff?
Well, let's put it this way: if they don't take ownership, they will lose out. In today's world, I know you talk about people to people, and I love it. And I've only just seen that. We talk about people to people. It's no longer about return on investment. It's return on engagement.
Yeah.
People to people. And if you don't take ownership of your business in this world, Americans have got a term called VUCA world: volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. If you don't take ownership, you will lose out. Because people are buying from people, social media, digital platforms. You talking, I operate my social media. It's too important to allow somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
I'll do my Twitter, I'll do my LinkedIn, I'll do my Instagram, although I'm not very good at Instagram, but I do that sort of stuff. But at least people are engaged with me. And it's amazing how much work over the last 3 or 4 years I've got. Not by punting for work, just by being myself.
By being engaged, by being
engaged, talking about what I do. And often, Steve, it's not the people that are in my timeline that are buying me, it's the people in my timeline recommending me to people who can buy me.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, my mate told me about, I mean, there's a great one recently, Marketing Weekly. I came in there and I criticised somebody because they were talking about cliches. And then somebody else criticised me. I had a dialogue with that guy and got talking about clarity forging, colour works, and about different preferences and way of communicating. Anyway, it turns out that this guy was a learning and training manager for his company. He's booking me for his conference. And that's me just being me.
But it's engagement. But that's exactly what does happen time and time again. But I mean, we've known each other a few years now, but our very first conversation was actually via Twitter.
Yeah,
do you remember
absolutely.
we were speaking at a small conference in Hertfordshire somewhere,
That's right.
and we were interacting?
That's right.
And I still remember that the moment you spotted me across the room and came and gave me the big hugs, UK sales mentor.
Yeah.
You didn't know my name, I think, but you knew who I was. But it is absolutely about the return you get on engagement. And what I'm hoping is...
See, you know what? So often people say, when I talk about social media, but that's not the real world. No, that really is the real world. The people say to me, oh, no, but you know, there's the real life and then there's all that stuff you do. No. They are, you know, the Internet of Things is coming together and it is the real world. And like you said, I met you, Steve, first on the social platform.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Steve, but
oh, hello, I'm real.
you real. So it is the real world and real relationships. You know,
I've just been poked by Kriss Akabusi.
But you know, I mean, how much work have you given me? I mean, you've introduced me to work.
Yeah, and how much work have you given me? No, we've done a lot of good stuff together, and that's great. But you know what? It's done without expectation too. And this happens a lot in social media. Is the law of reciprocity that just kicks in. So you do something to other people. You help other people with information, with your knowledge, with your enthusiasm. You give that to people freely through social media, for example, but it comes back at you, and suddenly the law of reciprocity kicks in, and they will reciprocate. Good stuff comes back to you.
Without a doubt. And one of the reasons that they will reciprocate is because actually you get onto their wavelength. Yeah. You really get literally onto their wavelength. And of course, the old saying, birds of a feather flock together. They know people just like you. They know people that require your service and product. Let me tell you somebody, let me introduce you to somebody who did something for me. That's one of those. You know, if I do good work for you, you know what, let me introduce you to somebody who's just done some good work for me. And then all of a sudden it blossoms and flies off.
So what else comes out of something like this? Because we both go and speak for a living at different places too. But we were talking earlier on about coaching and mentoring being a huge kind of follow-on type of thing. Because I think it's great when you can infuse an audience, and it's great when you can get them all up and motivate them. But without being rude to anyone, it's not difficult to motivate anyone. I mean, you can motivate any idiot, and you end up with a motivated idiot, which isn't always great. so motivating, inspiring is great, but I think we're both in the game of making sure that you cement that, and that whatever you're sharing and teaching. So we're talking today about change and about taking ownership. Can people engage with you?
So that's great. So I do sort of like 60-70 engagements in a year, right? And I know out of that, 15%, 7 or 10 of them are going to be interested enough to get me back to their team and do some work, some facilitated work. And I've got a great 1-2 day program where I facilitate the team around the strategy, the goal, the objective, so where we're going, how we're going to get there, sky blue thinking, put the stuff up on a wall, cut out pictures, then look at the wall complexity, what gets in the way, etc. And then get people to buy in, take ownership to delivering on the objective. I love that. And then also, then it goes down again as another 10-15%. So out of that 7 people, 1 or 2 will say to me, "That's my team. Can I do some work with you? Because I've actually got a challenge." And that's what I love, because today, great, everyone's laughing and joking, but tonight they're going to be eating prawn sandwiches. Yeah. But when someone brings you into their business, you're a little bit more intimate. When someone brings you into your life, you're together, and it's just that it's for a time, not eternity. They've got an issue they want solving, and they like the way that I think and the way that I talk and the way that I question.
So the key there for me is always the questioning. I can't remember who said it, and I've locked on this years ago in one of the early books that I read about the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions.
You ask,
But the questions you ask of yourself and of other people. But what I love is what you and I both do in terms of mentoring and coaching is then to help you inspire them at a conference, and then you help them actually embed it as part of their culture. We are live in the middle of London, as you noticed, here in Chelsea. But when you actually get to the coaching and mentoring, then you actually start to facilitate the change and embed what you rev them up. But rather than rev them up and leave them to drop down the other end, being able to mentor and coach and bring them on is like your Simon McKenzie did with you.
Absolutely.
It becomes part of the team. It's a let's go forward together kind of thing.
Yeah, so for many years I've just done the keynote instead on a stock platform. But I will say, I have experienced people come back to me 10, 15 years later saying, "You won't remember, I was at our conference." Now, a company director might not hear this. They've left the company as a result of some of the things that I've said, but they've gone and set up and done something brilliant. Yeah. And actually, for me, if I'm a company owner, I want great talent in, and I want those who no longer want to be with me out.
Absolutely.
So so it's a win-win for everybody. But you're right, that be able to go on and actually work with people and see the fruits of your labour. Because most of the time I don't see the fruit of my labour. Every now and again I might hear about it from the stage. But when you work with a team, work with the individual, you actually get that vicarious pleasure of seeing somebody going from A to B, falling and helping them across the line. I talk about the story of Derek Redmond, the way his father helped him get across the line. Derek was the athlete, the father was a mentor, coach, wise savior, been in his life all the time, and in the point of need was able to help Derek get across the line. And there's always a time in our life when we need a little bit of help to get across the line.
Mate, brilliant, always good.
Cheers, mate.
Are we doing one of these?
Yeah. Boom!